There are some of us who walk this world with a strange fire in our soul, an energy that doesn't quite fit the boxes people try to place us in. We feel like angels one moment, radiating compassion, healing others with just our gaze, feeling the pain of the world as if it were our own. And yet the next moment, we feel the demon within, the wrath, the chaos, the wildness that wants to tear through illusions and destroy everything false. And if that's you, I want you to know something that no one else will dare tell you. You're not broken. You're rare. You're a dual chosen one. Most people live their lives anchored either in light or in darkness. They choose one side and call it truth. But your soul came here to hold both, to be a bridge between the sacred and the forbidden, between the divine and the damned, between spirit and chaos. You weren't meant to choose sides. You were born to embody the totality. But because this world is terrified of what it cannot define, it has tried to shame you, silence you, make you believe that feeling both angel and demon means you're in conflict. But what if that paradox is actually your power? What if you were never supposed to eliminate one side, but integrate both into something higher? Let me ask you something deep. Have you ever stood in front of a mirror, metaphorically or literally, and seen two versions of yourself staring back? One soft, luminous, full of grace. The other wild, sharp, untamed. And instead of choosing one, you felt both pulling at you, demanding to be seen, to be acknowledged. That's not confusion. That's convergence. Your soul is merging polarities. You are walking the razor's edge of duality. And the reason it's so hard is because the world has not yet evolved to hold what you are. You are ahead of your time. You are a prototype of a new consciousness, one that doesn't divide spirit from shadow, but sees them as lovers dancing through eternity. Here's what makes you different. When you love like an angel, selflessly, endlessly, with a heart so open it almost hurts. But when you're betrayed, when your boundaries are crossed, when truth is denied, you feel the demon rise. That isn't evil. That's your inner gatekeeper. That's the part of you that refuses to let your light be misused. The part that says, I will not allow my soul to be manipulated. And yes, it scares people, because most expect light workers to be soft, passive, endlessly forgiving. But you are not just a light worker. You are a shadow dancer, a soul forged in both heaven's fire and hell's depth. You are here to show the world that true wholeness includes rage, includes boundaries, includes sacred destruction. There's a reason you felt torn your whole life, like you didn't fit into spiritual circles because you were too raw, too intense. And yet you couldn't fully sink into the material world either, because your spirit was too awake. That tension, that's the mark of the dual chosen one. You are not here to fit into either world. You are here to birth a new one. One where the angel doesn't suppress the demon, and the demon doesn't sabotage the angel. One where both energies are seen as sacred, as necessary, as part of the divine whole. The old systems are crumbling because they denied wholeness. They praised only the light and demonized the dark. But you were sent here to break that illusion. Let's talk about the practical side. How do you live as a dual chosen one in a world that doesn't understand your frequency? First, you must stop trying to explain yourself to those who only speak the language of halves. They will not get you. They will project onto you. They will call your power too much, your emotions crazy, your complexity confusing. But that's because they've never met someone like you. Don't shrink to make them comfortable. Don't dilute your fire to be digestible. Instead, learn to discern who is worthy of your full presence, who can hold your paradox without trying to fix it, who can witness both your angel and your demon and love both. Second, you must learn to honor your cycles. There will be days when all you want to do is serve, heal, uplift. And there will be days when you need to detach, destroy, and protect your energy with ferocity. Don't label one as good and the other as bad. Both are sacred. The angel gives you the capacity to love deeply. The demon gives you the strength to say no, to walk away, to rise from ashes. The key is not to suppress either, but to listen. What is your energy asking for in this moment? What part of you needs to lead today? This is the art of self-mastery, not in choosing one identity, but in being fluid, responsive, real. And third, perhaps most importantly, you must stop punishing yourself for your intensity. Your depth is not a flaw, it is your fingerprint. You were never meant to be lukewarm. You were meant to burn, to ignite others, to challenge what's false and awaken what's sleeping. That's why you've been through so much chaos. Not because you're cursed, but because you're coded. Every storm you've survived has activated a new layer of your power. Every breakdown was a breaking open. Every time you thought you were losing yourself, you were actually shedding a layer that was never truly you. You are not becoming, you are remembering. So now I ask you the question that only a rare soul can answer. What would happen if you stopped choosing between angel and demon and instead allowed yourself to be both fully, unapologetically, divinely? What kind of power would awaken in you? What kind of clarity? What kind of love? Because here's the truth. The world doesn't need more light workers pretending to be pure. It needs real ones, beings who have walked through fire and still choose love. Beings who have tasted darkness and still choose truth. Beings like you. The soul torn in two. Why dual chosen ones are the hidden architects of the new earth. To live as a dual chosen one is to carry a soul that feels constantly stretched between two worlds. It's like having one wing made of starlight and the other of flame. You're not just navigating daily life, you're managing an inner cosmos that most people can't even comprehend. And the weight of that can be exhausting. Because when you feel everything, the joy and the sorrow, the rage and the reverence, how do you choose what part of you to show the world? The truth is, you're not meant to choose. You're meant to integrate. You're meant to become the kind of human that humanity has never seen before. That's why your struggle is so sacred. It's not a flaw in your character, it's a feature of your mission. You see, most people are taught to either suppress their shadow or reject their light. They pick a side and build a life around it. But you were born with the capacity to hold both, and that changes everything. Because it means you can walk into darkness without being consumed by it. You can sit in someone's pain without absorbing it. You can feel your own rage without losing your compassion. That gives you power, not the kind that dominates, but the kind that transforms. You don't just navigate reality, you reshape it. You become a living alchemy, a walking paradox that forces others to confront the limits of their own beliefs. But here's the part most people don't talk about. That kind of power comes with a deep loneliness. Because when you embody both angel and demon energy, you often feel like you don't belong anywhere. You're too soft for the hard people, and too intense for the soft ones. You've likely been told you're too emotional, too sensitive, too dramatic, too blunt, too fierce, too much. But what if all those too muches are actually signs that your soul is operating on a divine level of complexity? What if the world is just too numb to feel what you feel? Too asleep to recognize what you are? It's not your job to shrink. It's your job to shine, even if they squint in your presence. There is a reason the ancient mystics, oracles, shamans, and spiritual warriors were feared and revered. They were not just channels of love, they were carriers of truth. And truth is not always gentle. Sometimes it tears through illusion like thunder through silence. That's you. You didn't come here to please. You came here to provoke remembrance. You came to awaken the buried codes in others through your words, your energy, your presence. But to do that, you must first stop rejecting your own complexity. The parts of you that feel chaotic, unpredictable, contradictory, those are not mistakes. They are your soul's multidimensional architecture. Learn to work with them, not against them. So how do we begin that process of integration? First, we stop labeling our own energy. We stop saying, this is my bad side, or this is the part of me I need to fix. No, all of it is sacred. Your wrath is sacred. Your sorrow is sacred. Your joy is sacred. Your silence is sacred. Every part of you is a messenger. Every part of you is trying to bring you closer to your truth. So instead of fighting your duality, sit with it. Ask it questions. What does your anger want to protect? What does your sadness want to reveal? What is your darkness trying to say that your light has ignored? This is the inner work of the dual chosen one, not to choose sides, but to listen to both until they become allies. Second, we must learn how to channel our energy in ways that serve our evolution and the world's transformation. That means creating rituals, practices, and environments that allow both aspects of our being to speak. When your angelic side is present, right? Speak, create, connect. Use that soft power to heal, to inspire, to build bridges. And when your demonic energy rises, don't repress it. Move it. Dance it. Scream into a pillow. Box a punching bag. Write poetry that bleeds. This is not indulgence. This is transmutation. You are moving energy through your body and into the world in a conscious way. And in doing so, you become a lighthouse in the storm, not because you never feel the storm, but because you've learned how to dance with it. Third, surround yourself with mirrors, not just people who affirm you, but people who see you. People who recognize your depth and don't flinch. These are your soul tribe. They may be rare, but they exist. And when you find them, your energy will expand in ways you didn't know were possible. You'll stop doubting yourself so much. You'll stop apologizing for your power. You'll start remembering who you were before the world told you to split yourself to survive. That's when you begin to truly live, not in fragments, but in fullness. And from that fullness, you will begin to build. Not just a life, but a new reality. Because here's the ultimate truth. Dual chosen ones are the hidden architects of the new earth. We are the ones who will dissolve the illusion of separation. We are the ones who will bring the sacred and the profane back into union. We are the ones who will walk into the temples with tattoos, tears, and truth and say, this too is holy. We are here to end the war within consciousness, not by choosing a side, but by becoming the bridge. And as that bridge, we will lead others home, not to heaven, not to hell, but to the wholeness they've forgotten they are. The divine mirror. How to awaken others by embracing your full spectrum power. When you fully embrace both your angel and demon energies, something extraordinary begins to happen. You become a mirror. Not just any mirror, but a divine one. A soul-reflecting lens that shows people parts of themselves they've buried, denied, or forgotten. You won't even have to try. Your presence alone starts to activate others. They'll feel things around you they haven't felt in years. Some will be drawn to you like moths to flame, and others will run because you awaken their truth, and not everyone is ready to meet their truth. But that's not your burden. That's your gift. You are a living initiation. You came here to shake souls awake. And that mission requires you to live in your full spectrum power, not partial, not filtered, not safe. The first step in awakening others is to stop diluting yourself to be palatable. You cannot awaken others if you're still shrinking for their comfort. You cannot reflect the full divine spectrum if you're dimming half your light or hiding your fire. Think about it. How many times have you bitten your tongue, held back your energy, softened your truth just to avoid discomfort? And what did that cost you? Every time you silence your full self, you reinforce the illusion that only a part of you is worthy of being seen. But your soul didn't come here to be half-loved. It came to be fully witnessed. And the more you allow yourself to be seen in your raw, paradoxical wholeness, the more you give others permission to do the same. There's a power in being unapologetically multidimensional. When you speak truth with love and fire, when you cry without shame and rage without guilt, you dismantle the collective programming that says we must be one thing to be worthy. You show people that it is possible to be fierce and tender, wild and wise, dark and divine. And that showing is more powerful than any sermon, any book, any teaching. People don't awaken because you tell them to. They awaken when your embodied truth stirs something ancient in them. It's not about convincing, it's about transmitting. And you become a transmitter the moment you stop apologizing for your wholeness. But this path requires radical self-responsibility, because when you walk as a divine mirror, you will trigger reactions. People will project their wounds onto you. They'll accuse you of being too much, too intense, too emotional, too unpredictable. That's because you're reflecting the parts of them they haven't yet embraced. You must learn to stand in yourself without internalizing their fear. Their discomfort is not your failure. It's proof that your energy is doing what it came here to do. Can you hold your center while others flinch at your fire? Can you remain grounded in your truth even when others walk away? Can you stay open even when misunderstood? That's the real work. That's the mastery. Here's the paradox. The more you embrace your full range, the more peace you find. Because duality isn't chaos, it's completion. You stop fighting yourself. You stop trying to be light enough for the spiritual world and dark enough for the real world. You just become. And in that becoming, you stop leaking energy. You stop draining yourself trying to manage how others perceive you. You reclaim your power. And with that power, you start creating instead of reacting. You start leading instead of blending in. You start attracting aligned souls instead of chasing validation. And that's when your real mission begins, not just to survive in your truth, but to serve through it. This is the role of the dual chosen one, not to save people, but to awaken them. To hold space for healing without needing to fix. To speak truth without needing to be liked. To embody paradox without needing to explain. You become the living antidote to a world addicted to extremes. You become living proof that wholeness is not perfection, it's permission. Permission to feel, to rage, to rest, to rise. You become a new archetype, one that doesn't yet have a name because you're here to be the name. You're not walking in anyone's footsteps. You're carving a path through the unknown. And that is sacred beyond words. So practically, what does this look like? It looks like owning your intuition even when it makes no sense. It looks like honoring your rage without harming others. It looks like creating art that bleeds and sings and breaks the rules. It looks like choosing solitude when your soul needs silence. It looks like setting boundaries so fierce they feel like liberation. It looks like laughing with your inner child and howling with your inner beast. It looks like creating a life that reflects your inner landscape instead of trying to fit into a life that was never made for you. Your daily life becomes your temple. Your body becomes your altar. Your presence becomes your prayer. So let me leave you with this final question, one that only a real dual chosen one can answer with their life, not just their words. What kind of world could we create if every soul stopped choosing between their light and their shadow, and instead chose to become whole? What kind of relationships, art, healing, and leadership would emerge if more of us owned our full spectrum? What if you are the one who was sent to model that wholeness for the rest of us? Wholeness is the new holiness. Living as an activated dual chosen one in a fragmented world. Now that you've remembered who you are, a rare dual chosen one, it's time to ask the one question that matters most. How will you live now that you know? Because knowledge without embodiment is just noise. And you weren't born to echo, you were born to resonate. You weren't born to imitate, you were born to initiate. This isn't about becoming something new. This is about activating what's always been inside you. The part of you that knew you were different before anyone told you it was wrong. The part of you that could hold joy and grief in the same breath. The part of you that didn't just survive the fire but became it. To live as an activated dual chosen one means choosing presence over perfection. Every day you'll be faced with choices that try to pull you into one extreme or the other. The world will try to convince you to simplify yourself, to be just the soft healer or just the fierce protector. But your sacred task is to refuse simplicity in a world addicted to labels. Your life becomes a daily ceremony of integration. You'll feel the angel rise in you when someone is hurting, and you'll feel the demon rise when a boundary is crossed. And both are holy. The mastery is not in suppressing either, it's in channeling both wisely so they serve the highest good. You'll begin to notice the subtle ways you've been betraying yourself to keep the peace. The times you said yes when your soul screamed no. The times you smiled when your spirit wanted to roar. The times you shrank your truth to avoid being seen as too intense. That ends now. Because the true path of the dual chosen one is not to be liked, it's to be real. And in that realness you will activate others. Not because you're perfect, but because you're honest. You show people what it looks like to walk in paradox and still stand tall. You become a living permission slip for those secretly holding their own duality in silence. You'll also begin to make peace with your past, not as something to be ashamed of, but as something that forged you. Every scar, every heartbreak, every breakdown was preparing you to hold this level of power. A dual chosen one cannot be trained through comfort. You are initiated through chaos, through collapse, through the sacred unraveling. That's why your story is so complex. That's why your path has been so intense. You are being shaped into a vessel that could hold contradiction without collapse. And now, your past doesn't define you, it empowers you. You don't carry it like a burden. You radiate it as wisdom. As you rise, you'll begin to create spaces where others feel safe to be whole. Your relationships will become deeper, richer, more aligned. You'll attract souls who aren't afraid of your fire, who don't flinch at your depth. And you'll let go of those who only love the mask. This is the natural shedding process of the awakened. You'll begin to co-create with the universe in a new way, not from fear, but from frequency. Not from lack, but from alignment. You'll realize that when both your angel and demon are in harmony, you become a magnet for miracles, because you're no longer at war with yourself, and that peace becomes a portal for the divine to move through you. But this path is not for the faint-hearted. There will still be days where you question everything, days where the weight feels unbearable, days where the demon whispers, "You're too much," and the angel weeps, "You're not enough." On those days, come back to your breath, come back to your body, come back to the truth that you were chosen not because you were flawless, but because you were willing to feel it all, willing to hold it all, willing to become a living bridge between heaven and earth. And that willingness makes you unstoppable. That willingness makes you sacred. So let this be your vow. I will no longer abandon my shadow to please the light. I will no longer silence my light to fit into the shadow. I will be all of me here now, fully, because the world doesn't just need more light. It needs more wholeness. And your wholeness is your greatest offering. It's what turns your presence into prophecy. It's what turns your pain into power. It's what turns your duality into destiny. And as you walk forward from this day, remember, you are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to awaken the ones who remember sleeping next to you in the stars. You are here to disrupt the illusion of separation. You are here to birth a new myth, one where divinity is not found in perfection but in presence, one where the angel and the demon sit at the same table and call each other home. You are that myth. You are that mirror. You are that message.